Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. For 1070 days last the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The Ukrainian open source intelligence initiative Deep State informs that Russian troops had occupied the settlement of Velika Novosilka and had advanced in a number of other settlements in the Donetsk region, reports NV. In particular, they advanced near Pishane, Nadiivka, Andriivka, and Baranivka. According to the initiative, the intensity of Russian assault operations has begun to gradually decline, although it remains at a high level. Deep State's analysis said the highest intensity of attacks had been recorded in the second half of December. Russian forces have tried to maintain a high pace of assaults since late November, which only partially slowed down after the new year. The Russians suffer heavy losses, but this does not prevent them from relatively quickly replenishing the combat personnel of their units. Russians have been particularly active on the Pokrovsk front, which accounts for 44% of all attacks in January. The Kursk front accounts for 13% of strikes, and the Liman front accounts for 10%. The US Institute for the Study of War indicates that the Russian Ministry of Defense is paying an abnormally high amount of attention to the capture of Velika Novosilka, which may indicate that the Kremlin wants to shape the West's perception of the situation on the battlefield and weaken international support for Ukraine in this way. In addition, the capture of Velika Novosilka and the redeployment of enemy units will indicate the directions of the Russian offensive in the spring and summer. The Axios informs that the United States has delivered about 90 interceptors for Patriot anti-aircraft missile systems from Israeli warehouses to Poland for further transfer to Ukraine, reports European Pravda. Three informed sources told the media that deliveries of Patriot missiles from Israel to Ukraine became possible after the Israeli Air Force officially decommissioned one of the systems in April 2024 after more than 30 years of service. Axios sources say that after that the Ukrainian side proposed the following plan to the United States and Israel. Israel would return the Patriot missiles back to the United States and they would repair them and send them to Ukraine. In September 2024, after several months of delays due to fears of a Russian reaction, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu agreed to this plan. According to Axios, this delay allegedly caused Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to refuse to take calls from the Israeli Prime Minister, who asked for permission for the annual Hasidic pilgrimage to Uman. A senior Israeli official told the media that Israel had informed Russia in advance of its decision, emphasizing that it was only returning the Patriot system to the United States and not supplying weapons to Ukraine. In recent days, US Air Force C-17 aircraft have arrived at an airbase in southern Israel, from where they flew to Rzeszów, Poland, a logistics hub for transferring weapons to Ukraine. Axios sources claim that this flight transported about 90 Patriot interceptors that Ukraine can use in existing systems. The rest of the equipment, including air defense radars, was sent to the United States for repair, the publication says. Earlier, Sharon Haskel, Israel's Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, offered to transfer Russian-made weapons captured by the Israel Defense Forces to Ukraine during a meeting with Yevhen Korneychuk, Ukraine's ambassador to Israel, reports Radio Liberty. Israeli ambassador to Ukraine Mikhail Brodsky later said that Israel will not hand over captured Russian weapons. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. In his video address, President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky touched upon the recent decision of the new US administration to freeze international support. The president informed that he instructed government officials to provide a report on those American support programs that are currently suspended, in particular humanitarian programs. Quote, "We will determine which ones are critical and need immediate solutions. We can provide part of this funding through our state finances, and we will discuss some of them with Europeans and Americans," unquote. According to him, these include many areas from communications and digitalization to support for veterans, schools, hospitals, and reconstruction. Earlier, Irina Vereshchuk, deputy head of the Office of the President of Ukraine, has announced plans for consultations with the United States on this matter. Vereshchuk referred to the US decision to halt USAID project financing for 90 days as unexpected and unpleasant news. At the same time, the US Citizenship and Immigration Services announced the suspension of the program for Ukrainians fleeing war to the United States, United for Ukraine, reports Ukrinform. It is noted that the decision to suspend the program was made in connection with the executive order of January 20, 2025, securing our borders. According to the US government, as of September 2023, more than 150,000 Ukrainians entered the US under the United for Ukraine program. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast. We're a non-commercial initiative of just two people and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.